Hello, my name is Maya Webb, and today I will be presenting my educational technology internship titled Tech Tool Info Sessions. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to watch my internship. I am currently a third-year teacher in the Prince George's County Public School System. I've spent the first 2 years teaching first grade, and now I am teaching second grade at Potomac Landing Elementary School in Fort Washington, Maryland. And I started my journey in the Educational Technology Master's Program at Loyola University in the fall of 2016, and I plan on graduating in the summer of 2018. So as I began my internship, I set some learning objectives for myself and the staff that I would be teaching. There were three important goals that I really wanted the teachers that I would be teaching to master. And the first one is teachers will learn and practice new technologies to implement into their daily instruction in the classroom. Teachers will demonstrate their understanding of new technologies. And lastly, teachers will utilize the technologies taught in the upcoming 2018-2019 school year. So these were my goals for my staff. So I began the internship with a partner. We came up with a timeline action plan of how we wanted everything to play out, what exactly we wanted everything to be done. And it was very precise, very organized, very polished. And we wanted to start with really seeing where our teachers' needs and wants were as far as technology and where they were comfortable with in implementing technology in the classroom. So we started that at the beginning of January. And then we moved on to creating a Tech Talk newsletter. And we were going to send that out electronically to the staff members by the end of January. And we were going to create a shared Google Drive by the beginning of January to house all of our Tech Talk newsletters for future references. And then we were going to begin to plan shared resource webpage for sharing technology ideas for staff. Then we were going to start holding voluntary sessions after school. And then once we started really getting the sessions going and seeing how many teachers were going to show up, we were going to analyze the results that we got from the attendance of that staff. So between mid-January and May, that's when we were going to really work with the technology resources, continue with the Tech Talk newsletters, and just kind of get the information out with our staff members, really seeing where they are with technology and how they are implementing the resources we are giving them. Then we're going to continue collecting resources, and then finally we were going to assess the staff at the end or sometime in May. So as I began my internship in my building, I presented a Google Docs proposal to my staff, and when I presented this to them, I wanted to show them that I really saw a concern in technology implementation in the classroom in most of all of the grades. So I brought this to my administrative team and I talked to them about really implementing different technology resources that could help teachers teach. And so as I talked to them about it, they were really excited to see that I wanted to help implement technology resources because my building is very, I don't want to say Stone Age, but as far as technology, it's very scarce in the building. So I took to them my proposal, and at the beginning of my internship journey, I had the grand idea to pull the entire staff in my school together to learn about new technologies they can implement in their classroom. But as I began to really walk around and have conversations with teachers, I saw the reality of what was truly taking place in my building. And I saw that the intermediate grades, 2nd through 5th, the teachers were very well versed in differentiating technology, with implementing technology, and with having different technology resources for their students. But it was more so the primary grades, kindergarten and 1st grade, who needed more guidance and assistance. So I took my proposal and I still wanted to teach teachers, but I geared it more towards the kindergarten and 1st graders, or 1st grade teachers specifically, and the results I got were outstanding. So in the educational technology program, we have 18 key concepts, but in my internship, I wanted to focus on 5 that really highlighted the artifacts that I present in this internship video. The first one is Key Concept 4.2. Candidates will be able to use technology tools to collaborate with colleagues. Key Concept 5.2, candidates will be able to use technology to collect assessment data, analyze it, and improve student learning. But in this case, this is more so teacher learning. Key Concept 10.2, candidates will be able to demonstrate the ability to lead technology initiatives at the school or district level. And I was inside of my school building. Key Concept 11.1, candidates will be able to apply models of staff development to begin the process of real change in a school. And Key Concept 18.1, candidates will be able to apply models of staff development to begin the process of real change in a school. So as I began, I distributed to kindergarten and first grade teachers a technology utilization survey. And with these questions, I wanted to see exactly where kindergarten and first grade teachers were as far as technology overall. Not specifically the implementation, but just how comfortable do they feel with technology? Have they ever in their teaching career attended a technology workshop? How important do they view technology in their daily instruction? Do they think a lack of technology hinders a student from reaching their full potential? Do you think that technology could cause a disconnect? And the next two questions that I really focused on in shaping my internship were listing the current technology programs used in the daily instruction, if they use any. And number 7, I wanted them to place a check mark next to the technology programs they've used in the classroom. And I mentioned a plethora of different technology resources, and they range from assessments, just a local central location for students to go and have different resources to access in the classroom, different surveys, ways to answer comprehension questions, ways to communicate with students but also parents, and just kind of keeping the classroom open to new ideas of learning. And finally, number 8, I wanted them to tell me their opinions and attitudes on technology integration, because that was going to help me understand where their head was going into this tech tool info session experience. So as I began to receive the responses from my first grade and kindergarten teachers, as I stated before, I really wanted to focus on numbers 6 and 7. So I looked at the current technology of this first grade teacher, and she listed a lot of Prince George's County given technology platforms. And it's not a bad thing that she was using these, but it was just geared towards the PGCPS curriculum. She really didn't have the ability to go outside of the box and try different technologies. And number 7, she uses Google Classroom and SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey is a way to take surveys from students or also colleagues as well. And Google Classroom is a central location to house many different technology resources, different websites, different assignments. So it was exciting to see that she was familiar with Google Classroom. As I moved on to the kindergarten teacher, in addition to the first grade teacher, she also uses what PG County provides for us. And to see that she used Remind was also great, because it shows me that she is communicating with parents outside of just paper pencil notes going home. She's also using a technology platform as well. And her use of Plickers and Class Dojo shows me she is familiar with some type of technology in the classroom. The next kindergarten grade teacher, she is very familiar with Google Classroom. So as I saw that, I knew where I wanted to go as far as shaping my first technology info session. And lastly, the last first grade teacher, she just told me she uses the internet as a technology program. So I knew working with her was going to be a great experience, because she was a fresh slate. And her use of Class Dojo was because of myself helping her communicate with parents. So it was good to see that she was ready to come in with a clean slate, a positive attitude towards technology integration. So after I viewed these responses, I received a wonderful quote from one of my first grade teachers. And she said, "Not being able to use any form of technology in my class has hindered my ability slightly for my students whom are ESOL and below grade level. However, I am from the old school. I have been teaching for 30 years. We did not have technology. So she groups her students on the rug. She uses a wipe on, wipe off board. And if the students need more assistance, they're given assistance individually, in groups, or having a partner." So really, taking this quote, it fueled me to really get excited about providing the kindergarten and first grade teachers with these tech tool info sessions, because the teachers that I taught are veteran teachers and they're very great at what they do, and they know that whatever works is going to keep working. So to kind of get them already having a great grasp on teaching, I wanted to introduce a new way that they could also get their students engaged and interactive in the classroom outside of just wipe on and wipe off board. So I was excited to see to take this quote, because it helped shape my tech tool info sessions as well. So I began with my tech tool info session 1, focusing on Google Classroom. And as I began, I took the results from the technology utilization survey, and I went and I said, okay, what can really benefit these kindergarten and first grade teachers? So I sent out a Google Calendar email, because I wanted everything to be technology. I wanted everything to be on the computer, so they are familiar with different ways of communicating with teachers and colleagues. So I sent out a Google Classroom calendar invite, and the first session, unfortunately, one of my teachers was unable to attend because she was absent. And when they came in, I had sent out a Google Doc to them where we collaborated, and I let them know that in this first session, you're going to be introduced to Google Classroom. You're going to be introduced how to set it up, how to navigate through the platform, and just kind of adding resources and working with the technology. And at the end, we're going to have a digital survey. So they came and they signed in on April 18th, and this was the first session that we had. And because of time, we did our sessions in the morning, because that's when most of my teachers were available. So as I began my sessions, I introduced them to Google Classroom, how to access it. I let them know that you can just go straight onto your email, click the apps, that looks like a waffle that I say, and Google Classroom is there for you to utilize at any time of the day. So as they started, they were playing around with their Google Classroom. They added backgrounds, different backgrounds on each teacher's computer, and they were tasked with going to a new tab, finding a topic that they are covering in their classroom or will be in the upcoming year, and just kind of find a link that they feel as though would help their students learn the material better in the classroom, and put it back onto Google Classroom. So in this first picture, you can see that this teacher has a link that she wants to set up, and she's going to post it to her Google Classroom. So when her students do sign on, they'll be able to see the link right there waiting for them. Same with this teacher in the middle and this teacher on the end. They are creating an assignment that their students will complete in the classroom. Here is the teacher looking for her content. Now for this specific session, even though they were going to use it for the upcoming school year, I wanted them to just try and gear it towards their students now. So this is a content and math content that this teacher wanted to put on her Google Classroom. And in the middle, this teacher is kind of making it her own, personalizing her Google Classroom so that her students are comfortable and excited about seeing something new. And same with this teacher on the end, she's making it her own. And lastly, she's setting up, trying to add her students into Google Classroom. So after they played around with Google Classroom, set it up, personalized it, added content to it. I gave them a Google Classroom survey through Google Forms, and I wanted to know their feelings and thoughts about the first tech tool info session. It was about 35 minutes and right before school started, and I just wanted to see where they felt, how their comfortability level was when they left the session. So I asked, which ways could you implement Google Classroom into your daily instruction? What aspects of Google Classroom do you like the most? And what are some limitations to Google Classroom? And how effective was this session that I had taught them? So seeing that they could implement it with homework assignments, quick checks, and adding assignments and videos really showed me that they took their time to utilize different features of Google Classroom. To see that they think that it's easy is really exciting to me, because Google Classroom is probably a very easy platform to access for teachers and students. And it also says the ability to create an assignment for the whole group without paper is something that really stood out to me, because even though using paper and pencil is a very great aspect of teaching and learning, having students have another way of teaching or learning is also great as well. The limitations to Google Classroom, the responses that I received were very real, because the students are in kindergarten. Unfortunately, students in kindergarten's access to technology is very scarce. They visit the computer lab maybe twice a week. So that going into the next one, access to technology is it's true. Accessing technology is a very difficult thing in my building, because the upper grades, 2nd through 5th, they're constantly testing. So getting access to Chromebooks is very limited for kindergarten and 1st grade, and not enough time or iPad access. The visit to the computer lab for kindergarten and 1st grade is maybe 40 minutes once a week. So I felt as though this was a very great limitation that this teacher highlighted, because this upcoming school year, kindergarten and 1st grade no longer have to worry about access to technology and not enough time, because Potomac Landing is turning into a one-to-one school. So that's going to help them X out the limitations. And the effectiveness of this session, they gave me a 100%, which shows me that they learned what I expected them to learn. Lastly, how likely would you be to recommend Google Classroom to other colleagues? They gave me a 100%. They are definitely going to go out and teach other teachers how to use Google Classroom as well. So moving into Tech Tool Info Session 2, I wanted to introduce my teachers to an assessment tool, but also a response tool. So I started the session by sending out a Google Calendar invite. And as you can see, my lovely teachers, even though they came, checking their email was not something that they were very fond of. So they weren't really responsive to the invite, but as you see in the sign-in sheet, they showed up. So in Tech Tool Info Session 2, I wanted to introduce Palette, how you can access the program, how you upload responses, and if time permitted, I wanted them to upload pictures of themselves, and how to take the Padlet website and embed it on Google Classroom, because we use Google Classroom as our central location for all of the websites and technology resources that I introduced and taught them. And lastly, as their takeaway, they were going to complete a poll everywhere. So starting the Tech Tool Info Session 2, I had my teachers access Google Classroom to make sure they still had that knowledge from the first session. And then they were going to go onto Padlet and access their dashboard. And I let them know that the dashboard is where all of the Padlets are housed. So no matter if they create 1 or 10, they will be in one location as long as they have a Padlet account. So once they started adding a dashboard or make a Padlet, they were tasked with bringing a topic they were learning in reading and ask a question, a comprehension question to their students to have them be able to go back into the text of that specific topic and respond on the Padlet dashboard. So this is what this teacher is doing in the middle. She has her title of animal teams, and that's something that they were talking about in first grade. And she has her question underneath, and now on the right she's kind of adding what question she wants them to answer. So moving on, this is when they began to set up their Padlets, and this teacher is accessing her Google Classroom so that she can take her Padlet dashboard or her link from that dashboard and embed it onto her Google Classroom. So as here is the teacher who added a resource from last class, and this now she's going to put her Padlet link on here. So time did permit, fortunately, and my teachers were able to access the ability to take pictures of themselves. And I let them know that when I did this in my classroom, my students were extremely excited to see their face, which is amazing to me because they see it all the time. But just seeing it in a technological way, they were just more like, oh, wow, I can do this. This is something that I'm excited about. This is something that I created and I have control over. So when they were taking the pictures and seeing their excitement, I knew that they would be able to pass this on to their kindergarten and first grade teachers as well. So just going more into Padlet, after they posted the prompt and the title of their Padlet, I had them act as the students, and I had them respond to their prompt just as their students would. And I let them know that before they even get to this point of Padlet, they're going to have to teach them how to type, how to hold their hands on the keyboard, because that's something that's missing in our building. Their ability, a computer teacher and their ability to just type their name on the computer is something that they're having difficulties with. So I'm not expecting them to just go in and give them an assessment on Padlet, but just kind of practicing. Write your name, write your first and last name, write your name more than once. This is also something they can use for Padlet as well. And as you can see, my teachers personalized their Padlets, and I just let them know that the kids love to do that as well. And this is just going more into it about the animals all around us. So kindergarten and first grade, we're focusing on animals at the same time in the curriculum. They personalized it, and now they were going to go and respond to it. So at the end of this Tech Tool Info session, I gave them a poll everywhere, and I let them know that this is another technology resource that they can show their students. And this is a way that they can gain check for understanding, they can gain feedback from their students, and it's really quick. And you post it in one area, and students can just answer it when they feel like it as they complete the assignment. So the first one was describe how using Padlet for an assessment or reading response questions would be in your classroom. So the responses that I received from my teachers was positive. It helped me understand that Padlet is something that they could use and they will use for their upcoming students this school year. Access, love, provide help, fantastic, demonstrates responses, computer. So it shows me that they were taking in the knowledge that I was helping them understand throughout this session. So what is an activity you could have students use Padlet for? All activities, I would use Padlet to have the students respond to the prompt, what is your favorite season and why? I will use Padlet for reading and writing assignments and also homework in order for parents to help and to see that she's so excited. And this would be perfect for daily routine or writing fundamentals. And that is something that Prince George's County Public Schools curriculum is very big on, writing fundamentals. We have a 3-day writing lesson, so implementing a different type of platform could help students' engagement and interactive abilities to stay high throughout those 3-day lessons. So moving on to Tech Tool Info sessions 3 and 4, I fused ReadWorks and Leno together because of the timeline of school ending and testing season coming up. So I sent out, lastly, the last tech tool info session, ReadWorks and Leno, Google Calendar, and then a Google Docs sign-in sheet. So for ReadWorks, I was going to show them articles and comprehension questions to go with it, how to add your students, how to check student progress and grade student work, and then their takeaway was going to be using Leno. And once again, they signed in and we got started. So as I introduced readworks.org, I let them know they sign in for free. Same with all of the other technology platforms, Padlet, Leno, ReadWorks, Google Classroom. They're all free technology platforms. And I introduced how to set up a classroom. So I informed them that when you create a class, you don't have to go and type in your students' names. You can just post a code, and when the students go in to log in to readworks.org, they enter that code and they automatically are signed up to that teacher's specific class. So as soon as I taught them how to sign their students up or to create a class, they began looking for different articles based on a content that they chose. So the first two sessions I had them choose math. The first session was math. The second session was reading. So now I wanted them to just choose a content that they wanted to teach their students or help with teaching their students. So this is what this teacher is doing here. She's going through and looking for articles with comprehension questions, lines that are there, lines that are not there, a paired text. So in the middle, this is a kindergarten teacher, and she has her comprehension questions. And luckily, with kindergarten and I believe first grade as well, they include visuals along with the text. So that helps students as well in building their vocabulary and building their reading fluency and comprehension. So then in the middle, as this teacher is looking for articles for her students, she wants to specifically look for kindergarten articles. And as she's looking for kindergarten articles, she does paired text, she does comprehension questions, because along with reading, you want to answer the questions as well. So as she looked for an article, good behavior in school, this is just the content she was searching, she sees that along with the text, you have audio as well and a visual. So for kindergarten and first grade, you have the ability to listen to the story, view a picture, and also read the story as the audio is reading it for you. So you can read along. It's a read along website. And over here, this is a first grade teacher looking for content for her students. As we move on, this is at the point where the teacher was looking for another article. These two pictures showcase the teacher looking at the comprehension questions and what comes with the comprehension questions. So if you can see, first grade and kindergarten have bigger lines, which is very helpful for the penmanship of a kindergarten and first grader. So ReadWorks is really beneficial for primary grades because it helps them build comprehension, fluency, and also their writing expression. So moving on to Tech Tool Info Session 4, Leno is where they had their takeaway from readworks.org, but I wanted to tie in Leno because this is a great way for students to express themselves using sticky notes. Our administrative team loves the use of sticky notes, so why not do it on the computer? And now, since we're a one-to-one school, we are able to use technology in the classroom pretty much every day. So this is something that these teachers can take along with them for this year. So I asked them to just give me a takeaway that they learned from readworks.org. And the responses that I received were wonderful. I let them know that Leno is a very easy, free technology platform that students can work on as well. So they are working on responding to the takeaway from readworks.org. And this is the final product of Leno. And the responses that I received from readworks.org they were positive, and they are now saved to my I guess you can call it dashboard as well. So I let them know that as soon as they sign up for Lino, they sign in, and you can just start creating and showing answers to questions, to prompts, just one word answers. So this is very beneficial for kindergarten and first grade as well because it's fun for them to do. So at the end of my tech tool info sessions, I sent out a reflection form, and unfortunately, the responses that I got were very minimal. I had 4 teachers attend, 2 kindergarten, 2 first grade teachers, and I received 1 response. And that just shows me that I'm going to continue to help and assist this primary grades because I want their response to technology to be more interactive and help. I want to help them benefit from the use of technology. So my question was, what was the most beneficial and helpful piece of the tech tool info sessions you attended? And just 1 response is great for me because it shows me that a teacher learned something. So learning things I did not know about technology and using it in my class. I just know that I'm going to continue to work with primary grades because I can tell that they really learn something through the 4 sessions that I completed. And with the timeline that I had, I really want to take more time to figure out a way that they can use more technology in their classroom. So I want to thank you for viewing my technology internship, and please complete the panel feedback at the end of this video. Thank you.